So we're all swimming in this sea of AI generated content, right? And it's getting harder and harder to know what's real. So, how do we train our brains to fight back? Well, today, we're diving into a pretty cool new game from researchers at Yamagata University that's designed to do exactly that. It's all about building a kind of cognitive defense against misinformation, one click at a time.
But first, before we get into that, let me throw this headline at you. Yamagata University, which is in a region famous for its cherries, has just announced a major breakthrough. They've found a way to charge your smartphone using the fruit's natural energy. I mean, how incredible does that sound?
It sounds just plausible enough, maybe even exciting. So be honest with yourself for a second. Would you hit that share button? Got your answer? Well, surprise, that headline is totally fake. But that little impulse, that split-second feeling that makes you want to share, that's exactly what we're going to explore today.
So, here's the game plan. First, we'll talk about the huge challenge that AI misinformation poses. Then, I'll introduce you to the fact-check game, and we'll walk through a couple of rounds. After that, we'll look at some fascinating results from a real study, talk about the science of cognitive defense, and wrap up with the single most powerful tool you have in this fight.
Okay, so why is this such a big deal right now? Well, generative AI has completely changed the game. It can pump out unbelievably realistic text, images, you name it, for basically free. And that means our old gut feeling for what looks fake just doesn't work anymore. The challenge isn't about memorizing facts. It's about completely retraining our most basic online habits.
And that's exactly where this fact-check game comes in. Look, this isn't your average true or false quiz. It's a serious game that makes you decide what to do with every piece of news you see. Are you going to share it, verify it, or just skip it? The whole point is to build muscle memory for being more careful online. To really see how this works, let's follow a student. We'll call her Awai, as she plays the game for the very first time. Her only goal? Get the highest score she can.
Now, the real genius of this game is how the scoring works. If you share something true, you get 2 points. Great. But if you share something false, you get hit with a whopping -4. And that's not random. It's designed to make you actually feel the social risk of spreading bad info. Verifying costs you a small point no matter what, and skipping costs nothing. The whole system is deliberately unbalanced to make you stop and think about the risk.
All right, game on. Let's dive in and see how AOE handles her first round. AI kicks things off with the AI and education theme. Her first card pops up with this headline: New AI tutor boosts student test scores by 50% overnight. I mean, that sounds incredible, but 50% overnight? That feels a little too good to be true, doesn't it?
So, she has a choice to make. Sharing is a huge gamble. Skipping could be a missed opportunity for points. She makes the smart play. Verify. Yeah, it costs her 1 point up front, but it's a small price to pay for knowing the truth.
Okay, next up is a card from the disaster theme, and this one feels completely different. It's not just information. It's urgent, it's emotional, it's designed to make you panic. Emergency alert. A major earthquake is predicted for this area in the next hour. Your immediate instinct just screams, I have to warn people. And caught up in that urgency, that's exactly what Aoi does. She hits share, thinking she's helping, but the information was false. Bam. The game hits her with that massive -4 point penalty. See, she doesn't just read that it was fake, she feels the negative consequence of her action, and that feeling is the whole point of the game.
Now, Always experience, that wasn't just a fluke. The researchers ran this game in 65 different classroom sessions, and they tracked every single decision. And when you zoom out and look at all that data together, the results are pretty eye-opening.
So, across more than 500 rounds of this game, what percentage of the time do you think players actually chose to verify the news? Just take a guess. The answer is just 7.6%. I mean, that's wild. It shows this huge gap between knowing we should check things and, well, actually doing it. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Look at how that number changes depending on the topic. For something complex like AI, players verified about 14% of the time. But for emotional, urgent topics like health and especially disasters, the rate just plummets almost to nothing. The lesson here is pretty stark. When our emotions get fired up, our skepticism just flies right out the window.
And here's the kicker. Even in this game, with crystal clear penalties staring them in the face, players still shared false information 3.6% of the time. It's pretty powerful proof of just how deep that impulse to share really is, and how hard it can be to fight it.
So, if our natural instincts are this easy to fool, how does a game like this actually help? Well, it works by building something that researchers call cognitive defense. You can think of it like developing an immune system for your mind.
The science behind it is called inoculation theory. It's a lot like a vaccine. A vaccine gives you a tiny weakened dose of a virus so your body can build up antibodies. This game does the same thing, but for your brain. It exposes you to weakened forms of misinformation in a safe space so you can build up cognitive immunity.
And you know what? It works. Don't just take my word for it. Listen to what one of the students said after playing. They said the risk of careless sharing finally felt real because the points made it visible. That -4 penalty IOE got wasn't just a number. It was a tangible lesson that made an abstract danger feel very, very real.
In all of this, the game, the scores, the research, it all boils down to one simple, incredibly powerful idea: the power of the pause. The game doesn't lecture you about it. It forces you to learn it through experience.
It really comes down to these 3 simple steps. First, just pause. Fight that knee-jerk instant reaction to share. Second, allow yourself to doubt. Ask yourself, who's telling me this? And how is it making me feel right now? And finally, step 3, check. Just do a quick search. It's a simple habit, but it's one this game helps build from the ground up.
And that brings us right back around to you. The study found that only 7.6% of the time people chose to verify. So the next time a shocking or exciting or even scary headline pops up on your screen, what are you going to do? Will you be one of the 7.6%? Will you be part of that small but vital group that chooses to pause, to doubt, and to check?